Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk live from Los Angeles. I am Eric Weber on this Thursday night, kicking off the weekend with discussion of the lone wide release film of the weekend. It is Violent Night. David Harbour. David Harbour never fails to keep you super engaged in what he's doing. He's just one of those actors that when he's in the film, you're going to go, yeah, I'm extra interested in what's happening here. I mean, I even go back to not Hellraiser, for God's sake, Hellboy, right? The Lionsgate remake from a few years ago. I actually was one of the few people that enjoyed that film because of David Harbour. I mean, look at Black Widow. Why is Black Widow better than it should have been? Because of two people. One, Florence Pugh, and two, David Harbour. Here's my reaction from this is really, listen, a lot of times I'd love to just bring in the tweet review because it's just exactly what you need about my thoughts on Violent Night. It is John Wick in a Santa suit, right? You've seen it. That's exactly what the film is. Violent Night is hella hard R. I mean, the kills in this thing are gruesome. I mean, legit, they rival Art the Clown, some of the stuff, right? The Christmas star, the star on top of the tree. Are you kidding? David Harbour slays, spelled like a sleigh, Santa's sleigh, as Kris Kringle, but it's overstuffed script. This is the issue. The overstuffed script grows wearisome. I'm telling you, I got tired of it, and then it came back together. We'll talk about it in a little more detail in a moment. Once the novelty of Santa slaughtering bad guys with ice skates wears off, it does get a little bit wearisome. Future cult classics, the question. I don't know. Could it be? I think so. For those of you who have not seen it yet, you know what you're getting into because, first of all, Universal gave you the trailer. By the way, I gave it 7.5 out of 10. When Universal does a trailer, what do? They give you the entire movie. That is what Universal specializes in. In fact, we're going to talk about Cocaine Bear here in a moment because I know everyone wants to talk about Cocaine Bear. I've got some thoughts about that. I just watched it moments ago. I did not get around to it yesterday. Universal, for whatever reason, gives away their entire movies in the trailer. So if you've seen the Violent Night trailer, you know what you're getting into. So the pros here, David Harbour, which is a very good pro to start with. If you're going to go see a movie, you want to see someone who is going to keep you absolutely locked in what he does, his choices. One of the best actors going today. One of the most interesting ones for sure. And then you have the kill count that is very John Wickian and the Art the Clown gruesomeness of these kills. So that's what you're getting. That's the positives, right? That only goes so far, though. I think the issues with this film are, number one, it's always an issue, isn't it? And it really is for this film. It's over long. I mean, this is at least 15 to 20 minutes over long. It comes in at about 150, 155. It should be coming in at 130, 131. Okay? An hour and a half, and this movie's better. And that gets back to the overstuffed script. You have all these characters, the rich family in the mansion there, and here comes the team to steal the money. I'm not giving anything away. You guys have seen the trailer, okay? Beverly D'Angelo is the best of the rich family, the snobby family. But when you have all those characters, you start not to care about them. And I think that it is going to be another one of these, like almost every movie that I evaluate. It always comes down to too much. And I just want to whittle it down. I mean, isn't that the thing? You just want to whittle this down to get it to more streamlined. Just have Santa doing his thing to the bad guys and make it just a little more condensed, right? Make it a little more Die Hard than John Wick. And that would be my note for the film, and then tighten it up. So it's a great concept, though, right? You've got Santa as the, hundreds, thousands of year old warrior that is now Santa Claus, the real Santa Claus. And that's a great concept as the killer, right? He is the killer in waiting, just like John Wick, just like you go back to Nobody, right? We've seen it so many times. The killer that you least expect turns out to be the most lethal of them all. And that's what we get here with David Harbour and Violent Night. I think it's a film that opens at about 10 million. That's the number I have for it, which is not great, but I mean, it's not supposed to open at 50 or 75 or 100. At 10 million's solid. I could see it actually push that. If I could do anything with the number here on the box office this weekend, having seen it, having looked at the sales here, we'll look in a moment here what the sales look like tonight. you're looking at a film that, if anything, I would take the over on, so like 10 plus rather than 10 minus, right? When we try to get the basic picture of where we're going to go here this weekend with Violent Night. I think it's going to do well in successive weekends because this Christmas season is pretty barren. We have Avatar 2 coming out on the 16th. I'm going to see it next Tuesday, by the way. And we should be doing a stream on Tuesday night about Avatar Way of Water. So be advised about that coming up this coming Tuesday. But you have Avatar, and you don't have a whole lot. You got a lot of these awards films that are coming in, like Empire of Light, which is a mixed film for me. You have things like Women Talking, which I love. You have some of the awards films that are going to come in here late, but there's nothing major. As you know, DC stepped out with their product for this year. They're done. Warner Brothers doesn't have another film for the rest of the year. And so because of that, Violent Night should be able to perform fairly well coming up here in successive weekends and over the holiday corridor. Now, when we talk about that holiday/Christmas corridor, you're talking about, why is my phone giving me the alarm? It's telling me that I should be on air right now, and I am. When you look at the holiday corridor, you're talking about 10 days, at least, really 2 weeks, of nothing to do but go to see movies. I mean, it's in a lot of places in the country now, it's cold, right? The weather sucks. So you end up with people that need things to do when they're off work and they go to see movies. So that's why something like here, Violent Night, will end up, I think, doing pretty well. Let's look at the preview sales, then we'll get into some comments. Those of you who saw it, any reaction you have, it's really that simple. It's just a straightforward John Wick Santa film that is too long. Okay, that's the hits, runs, and errors here on Violent Night. Let's get to the search of. I love to do this on Thursday nights. Let's look at the actual sales. It's only a $10 million film, right? If we say that that's the weekend, so that means the sales aren't going to look like crazy here tonight. Let's just pop it up and let's go to Violent Night. Here's the 10:45. This is down the street in Burbank. Now, in fairness, 10:45 is pretty late on a Thursday. It's not like a major event movie, but here it is. Here are the sales here at 10. It's at the Dolby Room, which, by the way, is amazing. For those of you who live anywhere in LA, you need to go to AMC Dolby Burbank. It is the best screen in LA. Best, period. End of discussion. Nowhere else is better. And it's not, and look, what the hell? Why are all those people up in the front? Did they block those off? Do you guys see? What's going on? What in the hell is happening here? The first 2 rows are sold out. What am I looking at? What are we doing here, AMC? Is your thing broken? Is your app/website busted? And there's one dude in the middle. I like sitting right here. Okay, so if you guys want to know when I go to AMC Burbank, where I sit, do you see the 3 in the middle here? You got the that's the walkway, right? I sit right there where those 3 seats. Someone knows that's a great place because you can get up and go piss, whatever you need to do. Okay, sorry, so crude, Eric. God, what are you saying? You get up and you can do your thing. So there you go. It's a $10 million movie. I mean, what else are you going to say? It's going to do okay numbers. Let's get into the comments on this. Then we're going to roll into let me lay out what's happening here tonight before we go to the comments. We just talked about Violent Night. Your comments are coming up. Then we are going to go to the 2 trailers, Indiana Jones. Then we'll go to Transformers, and we can also hit on Cocaine Bear. Just quickly, I don't like to do hours of trailer discussion, but just general thoughts on those. Then we are going to go to Joker. Is Joker one of the best films of the past decade? Does it get as much respect as it deserves? That is coming up. And then I also owe a physique critique tonight for a super chat that came in on Tuesday night. By the way, super chat gets you right to the top. And it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. We're going to have to go a little off the board here because normally we talk about actors getting in shape, but because the physique critique is growing in popularity, we might have to extend that and make it more of a multiverse thing. So in that case, this makes sense to go into pro wrestling. So we will do Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's because of the super chat. So we will get to that. I promise you, Solomon, it's coming. Okay. You can drop my tweet review too because I loved it. You loved it, Ken. I know you did. You thought it's going to be a cult classic, and I would agree. I think it has real potential to become that. Certainly every Christmas, let's watch John Wick as Santa and watch him just destroy people with hammers, with ice skates, with Christmas stars on the top of trees. It is, man, I'll tell you, it is violent as hell. Welcome, Aryan. Really appreciate you being a member. Thank you so much. Let's see what else we got here. Anyone? There's like a lot of people saw the movie here tonight. Badass Santa sounds amazing. You're gonna have fun with it, Sharma. There's no way you won't have fun. Oh no, Ken, is there a mid-credit scene? I got up and left. Damn it. I didn't. What is it? Just ruin it. Ken, tell me what it is. I swear to God, just at this point, I don't care. What is the mid-credit scene? I missed it, and I'm angry that I left. I did not stay. I was in this rush to get out. That's bad of me. Damn it. Please tell me now. Okay, we'll get back into that. I want to know. The Dolby Theater is unbelievable. Is that Scenario Shriver? It is the best. No, it is the best single screen in all of LA. And you're talking to somebody who's been to every screen in LA, from the screening rooms to the studio lots to virtually every major chain, even the small ones, the Lemleys here. Anywhere that I've been, nowhere rivals Dolby Burbank, because you have the recliners, you have a massive screen, IMAX in size, and then you've got the Dolby sound. You cannot beat that theater. It is number one. Okay, let's go into topic number 2 tonight. Then we'll go back to the comments. It is going to be this. Not Violent Night. Trailer talk, Indy 5. So I watched it quickly. Now, when I watch trailers now, I told you I don't like to watch trailers. So in order to be discussing the things that you guys want to talk about, I'm going to quickly kind of just cursorily go through it, right? Just look at it and say, does it work? Does it not? What am I noticing about this? The first thing I noticed when I watch Indy 5 is whoever put that together at Disney, or whoever put the trailer together with the group that did that, I bet is the same one that put together Mission Impossible 7. It has the same feel, right? It's got the stripped out audio. It's got the same kind of intro. I know trailers are trailers in general, but you really can tell that it was inspired by the MI7 trailer, which is really one of the best trailers of the past decade or longer. If you're looking at a trailer that is a quote masterpiece of a trailer, I would say Mission Impossible 7 is very close to that, because you have the interesting choice of stripping out the audio, of just having the score and just having that you need to pick a side, right? That is so really powerful stuff. Okay. So when I watch Indy, I go, okay, got it. It shows me too much of the movie. Like, that's one of the reasons I don't like watching the trailers. But in general, I mean, it's Indy 5, right? It's going to be solid. I think James Mangold is a very competent director, elevated plus on his effort. So I think that we're in good shape with that film. As far as Transformers 6, first of all, there are 7, but I'm calling it Transformers 6 because Bumblebee was not officially a Transformer movie. But, I mean, we've been down this Autobots versus Decepticons forever at this point, right? Going back to, was the first one like 07, 08? So 15-ish years of Transformers films. I know they make money. Obviously, they would not keep making them if they did not. What I liked about Bumblebee is it was scaled back, right? It was a smaller production. So I feel like when we get back into this, oh, by the way, of Transformers that are gorillas and giraffes and jungle animals, I just go, what are we doing at this point, right? We have jumped the shark. I'm sure there is a Transformer shark at this point. But, listen, it's going to make money for Paramount. It's one of the franchises they have that can keep going with, even though they had one of the best years ever, and then end the year with literally one of the worst films of the year in Babylon. Don't hold it against Paramount. They had a great 2022. Smile, Top Gun Maverick, Sonic 2, Scream, Lost City, on and on and on and on. They had hit after hit, and then you have Babylon. Terrible. Just a terrible film. So anything you want to talk about those trailers, let's do that now. Because, of course, it's going to, Kevin, I totally agree, it's going to make a ton of money. I mean, obviously, everyone's very, very excited to see this thing. Dial of Destiny. He did de-age him, Jeff. Jeff's in the house. By the way, Jeff saw a movie tonight. I don't know if Jeff can tell everybody what he saw, but Jeff saw a movie that I could have gone to him to see with, but I said, I think I'm going to wait, because when it comes out, there'll be nothing to see. So I don't want to see it now when I still have things that I can, get my eyes on. And so I don't know if you can say what it was, Jeff, but if you can, do it in the comments and I'll pull it up. One other thing I want to talk about before we're going to get into trailers. I totally reminding me of movies and going to things. Last night, I went to see Emancipation. only I didn't see Emancipation. So I go all the way to Westwood to watch Emancipation, the LA premiere with Will Smith and all the stars. And I get there and it's like, there's the red carpet and there's all just people everywhere. And I'm like, just show me the movie. I just want to come in and watch the movie. I don't want to deal with the LA premiere. I know you guys think that it's like an act, what I'm doing here. Like Eric doesn't care about going to premiere, but you guys, I don't care. I just want to watch the movie and go home. So I'm there and I'm just waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I finally said to myself, I'm not going to wait any longer. I am going to get up and I'm going to look. I walked out to the lobby and I looked at everyone standing around and I'm like, this movie's not starting right now. It's not starting anytime soon. It's already 35 minutes after when it was supposed to start. I said, I'm going to leave and I'm not going to watch Emancipation tonight. I'm going to go home and go to bed. And I did. I promise you I will watch it. It's available for me on a streaming. I can just watch it there. I wanted to see it, but I don't have time to sit around all night waiting for a movie to start. I'm hearing it's not good. Are you surprised by that? Are you surprised that Emancipation is not good? You probably knew it wasn't going to be, right? Yeah, there is the new Diggs in Topanga, by the way. We're talking about AMC. AMC rules. I love AMC. At some point, AMC is going to sponsor the show. I'm calling it now. It's going to happen. Puss in Boots is coming. I'm looking forward to that too. That's going to be, I'm hearing great things about that. I just have not got around to going to one of the early screens of that. You haven't seen an Indiana Jones film yet, Charmy. You got to do that. You got to start with obviously Raiders. And then I would go to my favorite indie film is Temple of Doom because I was the right age for that film. When I saw it, the things that it did, tearing a heart out of a dude's chest, I was like a little kid and I was like, holy shit, what did I just watch? I mean, it is violent as hell. And then you've got the mine cars going through that. And I also will never forget the arcade game. Temple of Doom, the arcade game, was badass. You were Indiana Jones with your whip, and it had some kind of weird control on it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. This is, by the way, no one else is doing this. No, not even one person on all of YouTube, or for that matter, Twitter, is talking about the Temple of Doom arcade game because that's how far we go back into the annals of the mind and go, what? Hold on, let me find a picture of this thing. Wait till you see this. This thing was amazing. Here it is. Okay, here's a picture of the actual game. Okay, hold on. I got to zip this up. Give me 1 second. Let me copy it here. Sometimes the stupid share app, share the picture thing doesn't work like I want it to. All right, here it is. Okay, so this is that the actual game or is that the NES? I think this is, hold on, give me a second. Here it is. Okay, so zoom. Okay, so there's Indiana Jones. You had to climb the ladders. There's the evil motherfucker. Oh, look at him he's got the heart in his hand. I told you the game and the movie's freaking violent. He's got dude's heart in his hand. And you had to go through, you had your whip, and then you got onto mine cars and stuff. Hold on, they have another picture of this. The game was amazing. I spent so many coins. What happened? I spent so many coins. Here it is. Okay, here's another picture of it. Give me a second. Fond memories. This is a whole IGN article. Thank you. I'm not the only person in the world who has remembered. Hold on, man. This thing is not sharing like I want it to. The magic of live. Sometimes things don't work how you want them to. All right, here we go. This is it. So this is Temple of Doom. And then look at this. Okay, so here is the arcade. Come on, where's a picture of it? No, I don't want to be a member of IGN. Okay, look, here it is. Okay, so check this out. So you're in the mine car, right? So you're in the mine car and you're hauling ass down through the mine and these dudes come after you and you take your whip and you like whack them and they fall out of the car and then you have to like change tracks and stuff. And then the guy's running around with the heart and you have to steal the shit. Dude, that game was amazing. You need to watch Temple of Doom. I'm very concerned over the new indie film because Disney has had a bad track record with the Star Wars films and Phase 4 of the MCU. I love the trilogy, though, but I'll give it a shot. Okay, I didn't even know I was going to go here, but I am going to go here because you ready for this? Is a whole thing that I've been waiting, and I think it's a great time to do it right now. Disney has a major issue. And when you think about some of the films I'm going to tell you, you're going to say, oh, well, of course it does. We knew this, but it needs to be stated. For me, when I really noticed it, and this is going to sound very strange when I say this, when I watched Cars 3, I was sitting in the theater with my kids, and I'm watching this film, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, it's fine. It's better than Cars 2. And then you get to the end of Cars 3, and there's Cruz Ramirez, right? The person he's training, the girl racer that he's training. He gives up racing halfway through the final race to say, Cruz, it's your turn. I'm going to retire. I'm going to let you take over. And at that moment, I was furious that Lightning McQueen, the vaunted racer, was going to abdicate his throne to Cruz Ramirez. And I go, what the hell am I watching? And think about this. Cars 3 is not the only time that's happened with a Disney sequel legacy situation. Star Wars, as we know, right? Look at Black Widow. Any movie. Look, Black Panther. Disney loves to take the male hero and turn it into a female hero. And oh wait, Eric, no, but I'm not doing a channel where we talk about quote woke things. That's not what we do here. But what I'm telling you is fact. I'm telling you fact that Disney takes the male hero and turns it into, by the way, now it's a female. So you know damn well that Indiana Jones is going to pass along everything to a female-led hero. You know it. That's what Disney does. And it's not like I'm not suggesting it's the worst thing and we should never do that. What I'm telling you is when it happens repeatedly, over, every single damn time, you start to say, why? Because it's very planned. Someone is absolutely strategically making this happen. And that is a problem when it's continually happening. And for me, let's just focus on Cars 3. It bugged the hell out of me. So if you have concerns about Indy, I understand that. And this is not a woke channel. There's other people, go ahead and leave in the comments. There's people who do the whole channels about this shit. But the truth is, what I just said is 100% accurate because that's all we do here. We spit facts on MMT. That's what we do. And what I just said is 100% fact-based. Disney takes male heroes and turns them into female heroes. Over. That's just what they do. Bumblebee is actually very good. I would agree, Ken. Bumblebee is very good. For what it was, except for John Cena. John Cena is not very great. He just followed me on Twitter, so I got to watch. Not that I don't think he's watching MMT, but if he were, I just would say, don't play the bad guy, just kind of be him. So when right, we always talk about that. You don't want to try so hard at something. You just want to let it flow. And I think that's what we've done over the months that we've been here, 6 months. You go back and watch what we do on MMT in the beginning, and you watch now, it's not the same because you get more comfortable and you just go with it. Like right then, I didn't plan to even go into the Disney flipping males to female heroes, right? I didn't even plan on that until the comment came up. That's the beauty of the show, is that it just comes out, boom, it flows, right? And it comes from your comments. And there's not a lot of shows that do this, right? That are literally looking here and taking what you're saying and then incorporating them quickly into it. And that takes the ability to have obviously a very good knowledge of what you're talking about, but also smart viewers like you guys who are coming in with that stuff. But I would agree that I have faith in Mangold too. Mangold, even though I don't love Logan, I think that Logan has, if you haven't heard before here on MCU, I say it, MCU. The MCU channel. MMT. You have a situation in the MCU, because Logan's technically in the MCU. When you look at the villain, it's one of the worst ever. I mean, one of the worst villains in the history of any comic book movie is Logan with Halbrook. I mean, just wow. It's not necessarily his fault. It's just that it's underwritten. If I'm not mistaken, I've only watched the film once back in 2017, early screening of it. I don't remember him doing anything bad, right? When you have a bad guy that doesn't do anything that just, absolutely establishes that he's sinister, then we have a problem. So yeah, Logan's not great when it comes to that, but I do love the direction of the film. And then behind me, it's still up here, is Ford versus Ferrari, which I think is a very, very good film, and some of the best cinematography of the year was in that film. It's such a well assembled film, and I think that's what you're going to get out of James Mangold is someone who knows how to calibrate and assemble a film very well, and that is a very important skill for a director to have, and not every director has that. It's the ability to calibrate a film to the level where it flows to a seamless, almost perfection, just feel to it. And I think that Ford versus Ferrari has that. Ferrari has that, and Logan does as well, minus the villain. The villain's the issue. Oh, Jeff with the. I don't know if you can. We is there an embargo? You saw a movie with a murder android. That's very opaque. I don't even very nebulous on that, bud. I don't know what you're. Jeff invited me to go along, and I almost went to see the Murder Android movie. But I said, again, I just want to have something to watch in January. Because, we're going to be totally bummed. In January, we get films like last year, like Moonfall and the 355. So the fact that we have Murder Android coming up makes me excited to see something. I want to see cinema in January. We're about ready to run out of cinema. It sounds like a Tomb Raider. That title's terrible for indie, isn't it? The de-aging does look much better. When you look at the de-aging in The Irishman, it's there, but it's not good. And then you look at the de-aging now, it'll be 4 years after The Irishman. You guys know technology gets better and better and better and better. So obviously, as it improves, then Indiana Jones looks better at his de-aged self than it didn't. Both Pacino and De Niro in Irishman just looks kind of crazy. Yeah, de-aging looks very good. I agree. It looks like right out of The Last Crusade, which is, again, kind of crazy when you think about people have been saying at some point we don't even need the actors. We're just going to have digitized versions of them, right? Here's the CGI version of Brad Pitt. Here's the CGI version of Tom Cruise. If you want to do that in the future, you probably can in a way, and just have almost like, I'm sure there's programs that could literally match his voice. We've seen that. Remember Carrie Fisher, obviously in the later Star Wars Rogue One. You look at it and it's kind of creepy, right? But when it gets better and better, it might be almost impossible to distinguish between the two. I mean, it's almost indistinguishable the higher it gets and the better it gets. And we're seeing it here when we go on to the next level here. Someone's asking, was it this? I'm not asking the question. Sodfix asking, was it that? Was that it? Will Smith, keep my movie's name out of your mouth. I kind of wanted to come out of Emancipation last night, and I'm kind of bummed because listen, I think the best shows on MMT is when I come in and just rail. I mean, gut a film, such as Babylon, such as The Whale, such as The Gray Man. These are the best shows because you're just full of vitriol for what you just were forced to sit through. So I'm not thrilled that I didn't get a chance to see Emancipation because I had a feeling it's going to be a film that I just go and savage. But that said, you guys got to understand. I say that, and then someone said, "Well, you're being prejudiced." No, I'm just saying. By watching a little of the trailer and knowing what I know, and here's what I know. I know this: if Emancipation were a great film, there is 0% chance that Apple would unload it this year because you're not going to get any awards traction with it. You've got a $150 million film. That's what the budget was on Emancipation. And you're going to unload that last minute in the awards race, a movie that should play well to awards based on subject matter. And you're going to unload it because they clearly know it's not great. Okay, I haven't seen it. I will turn around and tell you it's great if I think it is. But I don't think it is because if you're a studio that just throws it out there, here you go, get rid of this, then that means they don't have a lot of confidence in it. And regardless of what a studio tells you, they know whether a film is good or bad. They cannot come out and say it, right? So I am almost 100% certain that there are many people at Universal who are aware that The Fabelmans is not a good film. They are aware. They can't say that Behind closed doors, they can do that. Not even in emails, you can say that. But in a meeting, there's 5 people in a room. Someone can go, listen, guys, I know we all just watched The Fablemans, but this is one of Spielberg's worst movies. Um, we're going to have to figure out some way to market this. I think the number one thing we need to do here is to just lean on Steven Spielberg, life story, the story of him becoming a director. Everyone wants to latch onto that. They'll love that. The movie's terrible, but if we send that message out there, and that's what's happened, right? The people that are talking about The Fablemans aren't talking about the film. They're talking about Steven Spielberg and the legacy. You can't do that in the film evaluation space. You have to evaluate the film, not the director, not the legacy, not the actors, not the studio. And we have too many people in the space that don't know how to remove themselves from that. We talk about this all the time. It's the number one problem in this industry. And when I talk about that film criticism, film evaluation, film journalism, it's the inability to get your head out of the space of this director is great, therefore the film is great. Too many people do that. And we saw it with Babylon. I don't care who directed Babylon. It's a terrible film. It is a tonal disaster. It is one of the worst films of the year. The fact that it's Damien Chazelle is sad because he is a hell of a talented director. But Babylon is atrocious. Atrocious. And we have people out there saying it's good. Go ahead and do that. But as you do that, you are tossing a grenade on what was your reputation when it comes to evaluating films. It's that simple. There's no other way to put it. So when you see Babylon, remember the people that said, "Oh, it's what a film. It's something. What a creation." And remember that. And same thing with, you're going to get to see The Whale here soon. The Whale is abysmal. It is one of the worst scripts that I have, I mean, maybe ever, in that what it tries to do, the manipulation and the phoniness of it and the artificiality of it is sickening. And the fact that some people bought into that makes me go, man, now I understand how a lot of you bought into a lot of narratives. Wink, wink. Right? If you bought into the fact The Whale is great, man, you would buy just about anything I tell you. Because you do not have a good switch for knowing what is garbage. Terrible script. Really one of the worst. Temple of Doom is amazing. I'm glad that you like that. Oh, is it Megan? Everyone's asking, is it Megan? Can you talk about it? Emancipation is 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, shit. So, yeah, no. So here's the thing. So, Leah, that's interesting that these are the things you get from me that you don't get any, the stuff that I don't even really talk about on Twitter. Because really, when we're on here for this hour, when we do Midnight Movie Talk, really, honestly, it's like wide open admission time. Like, you're not going to get any kind of filtering. So I'll say things here that I wouldn't even say on Twitter because it's not even worth it. Here I'm like, at least there's some nuance, and frankly, I don't give a shit at this point. But when I said, hey, Apple, can we look at Emancipation? I know it's ready because they showed it in New York. And I really wanted to see it because, listen, if we're going to evaluate for awards, I want to be able to see everything I can. Within the time frame. I don't want to have to wait forever to watch from one film. I mean, God forbid it's like the best film of the year, but whatever. They said they didn't even bother. So I really, at that point, go, okay. So yeah, I will watch it. And I'll tell you what, I promise you, if I watch it this weekend on Sunday night, I will savage it. If it's bad, I don't want to. I'm just saying, if you want us, if it might happen on Sunday, I have no idea. I'm worried Indy 5 will be the Force Awakens of the indie movies. It could be. I mean, Cruise Skywalker. Did anyone else notice that? First of all, did anyone else see Cars 3? Did anyone? Thank you. I'm right about Disney again. Did anyone else see Cars 3? Did anybody? They would change Erick to Erica. They absolutely would. Midnight Movie Talk, hosted by Erica Weber. I mean, that's what they would do. That is what they specialize in, ripping male heroes out of films and replacing them with female heroes. And then, Erick's gone woke. No, God, don't even use the word. I can't stand it. But the fact is, when I can point out multiple franchises that have replaced male protagonists with female protagonists, then you have a systemic problem. How can you deny it? Cars 3, which no one talks about. Star Wars, maybe Indy, likely Indy. What else? I know there's more that I'm missing. Like MCU films, Black Panther, right? Why did they not recast Chad in Black Panther? Why did they not give us a new T'Challa? Why did they not give us I know I wanted Jonathan Majors. I get it. He's Kang. We can't have it. Why didn't they go to Aldous Hodge? Why didn't they go to, hell, just make Michael B. Jordan? We've done crazy things in film before. Just come up with some storyline to have him. I don't know. There's some way. God, it's a comic book movie. You can make anything happen. So my question is, if you see a pattern, how can we not discuss it? And don't tell me I'm woke. I'm just telling the truth. The truth. We're talking about the truth. That doesn't work as much. We're talking about practice. You guys, at some point, I should just play. We're talking about practice. I love that soundbite. It's like there's two sound bites I love. Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice. And it's not the game. We're talking about practice. And I also love the head coach of Oregon State, Oklahoma State, Lundy or Gundy, whatever. I think it's Gundy. When he goes, I'm a man, I'm 40. Come after me. When the guy was attacking his player, he's like, I'm a man, I'm 40. I go, oh, those are good sound bites. Those are great. If you haven't heard those, go look at those. Just type into your Google bar, I'm a man, I'm 40. He's getting sacrificed at the altar. Probably, Rusty. This is not turning into a woke show, you guys. I don't want to do that. That's not, if I'm not saying it again, I'm not going to say it again. I'm not going to say woke again. Okay. Before I get into comments, I do want to get to one of the topics that I didn't get to yet, and this is a big one for me. Okay, by the way, tonight's kit is Flamengo, and remember what I told you we're going to do? We're going to match the football kit, soccer jersey for those of you here in the States, football kit with the graphic color. So tonight, Flamengo, the red with the black, so I went with red. So that's kind of the theme here going forward. Okay, so I thought about this today. There's been some discussion about Parasite being, one of the best films ever, and I would agree. It really is a masterpiece. But it got me thinking about films over the past several years that have made an indelible impression upon us. Films that we continue to think about to this day, right? Films that we just say, why am I still thinking about this film? Why is it still stuck in the annals of my mind? And when you look at Joker, you're looking at a film that when I came out of this film, okay, so I came out of Joker at the LA premiere back in October, or was it the end of September, 2019. And I knew it had already gotten, rave reviews over in Venice, and there was a lot of buzz about it, but I didn't know much other than the fact that it was violent. I knew it was going to be violent, okay? But when I came out of the film, in fact, let me pull it up right now. When I came out of Joker, my reaction to that film was, here it comes. It still holds 100% true to this moment. Like, it's the same reaction I would have if I watched it today that I had back then. Here it is. Let's pop it up. This was my reaction coming out of it. I'm in a state of shock. I can't believe Warner Brothers let Todd Phillips make the movie I just watched, Joker. Because you've got to remember that this was uncharted territory. You had a situation in the DC EU, now the DCU, with a character from Batman that is going to be a hard R film, a film that features stabbings with scissors in the throat and face, films that feature TV show hosts getting their brains blown out. Now, as I said here in the tweet from earlier today, and here it is, the more I think about the films that still occupy space in my mind over the past few years, the more I come back to Joker. Regardless of its clear influences, and we know what those are, we'll talk about that in a moment. I think it's time we recognize this as a great work of cinema. Kudos to you, Todd Phillips, for this audacious creation. Because here's the thing. I know that there's a lot of people out there that say Joker is simply the king of comedy meets Taxi Driver. No one's going to argue that. Fair, okay? But what we need to focus on more than that is the fact that Todd Phillips and Warner Brothers made a film that is extreme with its graphic violence, that goes places that I venture no other studio would ever dream of greenlighting. That is the importance of Joker. And I know there's a lot of you that say, Warner Brothers, this and that, they did this wrong, they did that wrong. Nobody gets everything right. People are going to have hits, they're going to have misses, they're going to have good things and bad things. But Joker, the film that they allowed to be made by Todd Phillips, needs to be celebrated to this day, 3 years plus on. We need to discuss Joker as a great film. Not a good film, not a very good film, but a great film, regardless of its influences. And that's what I propose to you tonight. If you agree, hit me in the comments. Disagree, hit me in the comments. But I'll tell you what, you can't deny this. Warner Brothers had brass balls letting Todd Phillips make that film from a DC property. That is absolutely insanity. And that's my reaction when I walked out. I cannot believe they did that. I can't. And God bless them for doing that. I enjoy Joker, but it's Taxi Driver and King Comedy. I completely agree, Patrick. You're hitting exactly my point. We're giving you that. No one's arguing that. But the second part of your tweet here, your comment, apologies, we're not on Twitter. The second part here, I guess the miracle is it's DC. That is what we need to be discussing. Not the King of Comedy meets Taxi Driver. It's a miracle that it's a studio film and it's a DC property. That is the miracle of Joker. That is why it needs to continue to be celebrated. That is why it's going to continue to have the prime spot here on the MMT walls, because it represents serious risk. And we need studios to do more of that. Give us more Jokers and less name virtually any recent MCU film. We need more of this. Not, well, Dune 2. My fingers there. That Joker. That's what we need. Also, the scary dude that watches the woman from the ear, super creepy. Wait, which one's that? Oh my gosh, hold on. Some of the I apologize. Sometimes I'm ahead of the comments. There's so many now, you guys. My God. Some people say the Joker was woke, but I say no. It shows a world that's lost its morality and how a weak and isolated man could not compete with it and becomes the villain. I agree, and that is the film, and that's very much like King of Comedy, very much like Taxi Driver, right? And there's, listen, guys, we can't say that every movie has influences and you can see them everywhere. Look at a movie recently, Smile. I mean, no one's going to argue that it's a combination of The Ring with hereditary elements. It's got every film is virtually stolen from something else. X, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Name a film that's recent, and I'll tell you what the influences are. That's not the point. The point is that it is a deep film that absolutely has that message of a guy. And right, remember all the Zazie Beetz stuff. It's all in his head, right? He's a loser. He's a loser who found his purpose. I know this is like stating the obvious, but we need to state it. Found his purpose in being the villain, in being the bad guy. And I think that's a very real thing in life, right? I mean, just look at Twitter. There are people who have created entire personas by being miserable, right? Being sarcastic as hell all the time. Don't get me wrong, I can be that, but I'm not all the time. I'm talking about like 24/7. This is what this person does. And that's their thing, to be a hater, to be that's what they do. And that's, that's the central message of Joker, is that for some people, to achieve notoriety or whatever, that is that you're looking for, they will do things that are incredibly unmoral, right? I mean, we see that in the world now today, right? If we had people that were morally based, making decisions, we would have a much better world. I think the problem we have in this world, speaking of a Joker and extracting that, like we talk, when we do film and then we can take it to real world. When you look at a film like Joker, you're looking at corruption of the soul, right? So I think there's a lot of corruption of the soul in the world we live in now. Hell, half of our leaders, are they really, morally based people? I'm not talking about religious or spiritual. I'm talking about moral, doing what's right or what's wrong, right? People of integrity. I think that's how I've set my life up. That's who I am. I don't do things purposely that I know go against my moral fiber. And I think we have a lot of people who do. And I think one of the great mistakes that people make in this world is assuming that everyone is coming from a good place. And I hate to sound negative, but I think it's safer to assume that people are coming from more of a, well, let's just look, let's judge, let's figure this out, rather than assuming that what is being told to you is truth. I would rather be very skeptical and then work towards trust than just going trust. And we just lived on, by the way, we just lived through this and we still are. LA's like, let's do mask mandates again, maybe. If the COVID rate gets high again, Barbara Ferrera's we're going to have the COVID masks again. Good luck getting people to comply with that, Barbara. Good fucking luck. It's not going to happen this time. Okay? Here's my stance and will forever be my stance on this. If you want to wear a mask, go for it. If you don't. Do not come in and nanny me. I don't need it in my life. Get the hell out of my life. I don't need it. Okay? If you want it, go for it. Don't tell other people how to live their lives. Oh, God. Okay. That was the that was the moment when Weber went nuts. There it is. It's for real. He just got serious, didn't he? When that music plays, soundtrack by Hildur is unbelievably great, right? It's the perfect score. And then when you listen to Hildur, who, by the way, is going to become one of the greatest composers that we have in film, and we're seeing it this year. She has Tar, which is very sparse. Not a lot of score at Tar, because that's not the film it is. Even though it's a film about a composer, there's not a lot of score in Tar. Though, you just wait till you hear women talking. The women talking score, that is one of the best. In fact, I'm so glad that it won Sunset Circle. We had 5 really spectacular scores up this year, but it was women talking that won, and I think that is the best pick. Joker was great. Final 30 minutes was such a suspenseful buildup. Then Joker slowly smiles on the car. The scene pinged to the top for me. We talk about that, right? That is my thing, and you guys can steal it. When the film is pinging the top of the meter, when you're on scenes that are like bang, 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 we are off the top, this is like the elite cinema, then that is going to end up being a great film. All the buildup, and it's just surprised when he smiled, right? I just think it's amazing that he blew his brains out, right? I mean, I'm like, wow. Just wow. First of all, the scissors scene, right? The stabbing scene is like, okay, now it's for real. And that's the beauty of the film, too. That's the moment that he fully flips. But it's not like a typical, it's like savage, right? I mean, there's no way to say that is not heavily graphic as hell violence, right? Scissors. And then we go and we get, De Niro's brains getting blown out. That's, hello, guys. Do not pretend that is like normal studio stuff. Like in a DC film, I don't care if it's a Joker film. Anyone who pretends that that's like normal or that's not edgy, man, what do you watch? Snuff films? Do you watch? Do you? Are you the people in 8mm? By the way, I was thinking about 8mm. You guys never see 8mm? It's got Nicolas Cage, it's got Joaquin Phoenix. I love the concept of 8mm. Like, it is I don't think the film's as good as the concept, but Nicolas Cage is a detective, right? He's a personal detective, PI, and personal investigator, and PD, and he is tasked with finding a girl who disappeared, or I think do they know the mom is looking for the daughter. It's been so many years since 8mm. But here's the short and long of it. So he's looking for a girl who disappeared, and he goes out to LA to find her, and he's looking through all the stuff, and he's trying to figure out where she is, and he comes across the makers of snuff films that are real, right? And by the way, I believe they probably are real too. As much as I remember what I told you about the evil that lurks out there, I actually believe this. But 8 millimeter, and he finds out that she was killed and it put on film in 8 millimeter. And Joaquin Phoenix is his buddy who, well, he works at a porn store. God, I know if you guys haven't seen 8 millimeter, like, this movie sounds crazy. It's really great, the concept. I would actually like to go back right now. And if someone steals this, I swear to God, I'm coming after one of you. I want to rewrite 8 millimeter. The idea, almost like a remake, but make it just a little less. Like, I think at the end, when we get into the guy who makes the films, I feel like there's a really cool, super dark film in there. 8 millimeter sounds like it should be dark, 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 and it doesn't go quite as far as it needs to go. I almost want to see it go like full Joker. Like, let's go really out there. Let's really go there with 8 millimeter. But when I think about the films that are edgy, Joker is absolutely that, and I don't know why. Why I'm thinking about 8 millimeter too is Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, yeah. By the way, there's no other YouTube person talking about 8 millimeter like that out of nowhere. That's the thing we do here. I don't even know sometimes what we're going to do here, because as you guys know, my brain kind of pops. It goes, that's how it goes. I can't change it. It's what it is, right? We just went from COVID discussion and masks to 8 millimeter to Joker to did I watch The Watcher? Yes. And when I watch that film, two things stand out to me. Chloe Acuna, I believe is her name. I know it's Chloe. She was up for a Sunset Circle for Five Fire Directors, which is a really strong first, second, third feature, really coming of age. And here she is, Arrival. And yeah, the direction's very strong. But really, it's all about Micah Monroe. I mean, that is a performance that is one of the better performances of the year, not just for a horror film. Micah Monroe needs to get out of just doing horror films. She is a great actress. I believe that. So someone needs to put her in something where she can show her true chops. Beyond It Follows, beyond Watcher, beyond, there was some like Hulu film she did I remember that one with the kid from Chronicle. I can't even believe I remember that movie, but we saw it on top of a mall here during COVID. They had a screening and we were like, oh my God, we get to go to a movie. Remember those days? We can't go to a movie because you could kill grandma and everybody else. Like, I was like banging my head against the wall because I was like one of the only people who was like, this is propaganda. It was. You guys know that too, right? You guys are fully aware that COVID was very largely a propaganda campaign. Oh, here comes Eric, the right wing. I'm not right wing. I call things what they are. COVID was a massive propaganda campaign. I know it. I'm 100%. And you guys know it too now, 2 years on. I knew it from day one. I did. I could go into this really far, but watch out. I could get censored. I'm going to get censored on YouTube for saying what I just said. But it was a propaganda campaign. I'm not suggesting it wasn't real. I'm not suggesting that people didn't die. What I'm suggesting to you is that it was blown so far out of proportion and measures were taken that were so drastic that we paid a price so much more severe than we just gone on like we always do. That's why from now on, I don't care what the situation is, I'm going to continue to live my life how I always do. I will never, and I really didn't during the entire time, I will never alter how I live my life. Now, that does not mean I'm going around and being reckless and, oh, look at you. When I say reckless, I don't mean not wearing a mask, okay? That is, don't even, like, come on. It's almost hilarious that we actually even have that conversation. You are reckless for not wearing a mask. You're a terrible person. Oh, and I'm like, actually, let me turn this on you. You suck as a person for even saying that. No, you do. You suck as a person for saying that because you are projecting your fears onto other people. How about you take your little issues with fear and with whatever else you have and keep it to yourself? Because the rest of us are going to keep on living. And if something happens, it happens. That's how life works, man. There's no guarantee that you're going to make it through the day or the next day or the week after that. You have to live life like you have one chance, one shot, as Eminem said. And I don't want to be told I have to do this and this and this and this. Do your own thing, right? Take your phobias and live in your little corner. We won't miss you either. We really won't. There it is. Weber going off again. It's the beauty of the show. No other YouTuber. There's not another. Can you imagine Grace Randolph doing that? God knows she has 1 million times the viewers. I don't give a shit though. You guys rock. I don't care because she couldn't even do that. She wouldn't even know what she was saying. Snake Eyes and 8mm are both underwhelming Nick Cage flicks. I would agree with that, Rusty. It's a great call. It's the thing about 8mm that drives you crazy is that it had the potential to be a really good film, and it's not quite there. And what I'm gonna do is I've told you I'm really focusing on writing screenplays now. I'm really thinking that I really want to do this. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have a ton of contacts now. Being here in Los Angeles, meeting filmmakers, meeting studios, I have contacts, and I feel like I've got stuff to offer. So I'm not going to do a Chris Stuckman in whatever movie he's making. That's not. I want to make good films. Like I want to be part of making good films, and I think I have a good mind for that. And I think we need to re-examine and revisit 8mm. So if that happens, you heard it here tonight on this 1st of December. And if that happens on the road, what's interesting is Ray Liotta is in Cocaine Bear. We can talk about Cocaine Bear. And then, by the way, I owe somebody before we get off here. I owe Solomon his physique critique. So we're going to do that. When I watch Cocaine Bear, I know a lot of you like freaking out. Like, it's great. It's great. I'm glad that I pulled up this comment right here because the one thing that I remember from Cocaine Bear from watching it just moments ago, because I didn't get around to it yesterday, was, my God, what a loss Ray Liotta was. That was my reaction to Cocaine Bear. I'm watching going, we lost a great actor in Ray Liotta. And that, more than anything, was my impression of Cocaine Bear. I mean, the other thing about Cocaine Bear, for sure, is that Universal gave you the whole damn movie again. It's the entire film, including like the best lines. At this point, why do I even want to watch Cocaine Bear, right? I mean, I know the film, right? Cocaine falls out of the sky, Bear eats it, then he goes around killing people, and it's a total black comedy, goofball, Sharknado kind of thing. It looked okay. I mean, it's a February movie. Let's not get crazy about Cocaine Bear. I know the name's amazing. By the way, Jeff Ewing, kudos for you. He said, you know what's next after Cocaine Bear? Meth Gator. That's a good tweet. Jeff, he's a writer. What a surprise. It's a very good tweet. But I wasn't that amazed by it. I think you guys are just amazed by the fact it's called Cocaine Bear, because the truth of it is you watch it and go, okay, the concept I get, it's based on a true story, but the bear didn't do anything. The bear literally ate the cocaine and died, but they ate the cocaine and then went on this Sharknado, or what was the one with Betty White, the alligator movie, like that kind of shit. That movie, right? Here comes the beast that's going to kill everybody. We saw with what was the one that the Tarantino loved the film, the one with the alligators in Florida in the swamp when they had the flood. Shit, it was a Paramount film. It started with an S. Oh, it's gonna hit me. Anyhow, that one. It's like that. It's like the wild thing killing everybody. I'm not that excited about it, but it's okay. It's okay. But I saw the whole movie. Aryan again. I don't understand why people criticize Joker for being reminiscent of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, considering it's clearly what the filmmakers are going for. No, exactly. It's not like Todd Phillips said, oh, this is an original film. I mean, of course, if you ask Todd Phillips, and I talked to him a couple times during that award season, I didn't bother to ask him that because it's obvious. I mean, if I asked him, what were your influences? Do you think he would go, oh, I didn't have any. This is totally original. He would say King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, right? He wanted to make a seedy 70s/80s, late 70s, early 80s film that very much feels like a Taxi Driver or King of Comedy, and that's what it is. So, yeah, I don't see the big deal. I mean, we have plenty of films that are derivative of other films, and we don't really mention. I mean, I would argue, look at Parasite, okay? So when you look at Parasite, I'm getting a dry throat. My cough's pretty much gone, but give me 1 second. For a quick ad, Clear American, the best, literally the greatest sparkling water that you could ever imagine is Clear American. This is 100% heartfelt promo. This is Walmart sells this stuff. I love it. They sell out of it. It tastes like it has sugar, but it has 0 calories. Clear American. Comes in multiple flavors. That's orange. Unbelievable. Tangerine. Unbelievable. Okay, so back to the show. There's no problem with Joker. Films are derivative. Live with it. Move on. But Joker's a great film. What I was going to mention, though, is Parasite. So when you look at Parasite, you have a film that very much feels like a Tarantino film. So, right, you've got the slow build to insanity. Every Tarantino film features one or multiple very slow build. You've got we've light the fuse, and now it's going to take a while. Go look at Inglourious Basterds. Just use that. In the bar, in the basement, waiting for it's coming. When is all hell going to break loose? Look at Parasite. Here it comes. Boom, all hell breaks loose. It's the same structure. So you could say Parasite is very much derivative of a Tarantino work. In fact, I told you guys the story about Quentin Tarantino. The year the Parasite was out, 2019, he had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I asked him what his favorite films were. He told me it was Crawl. Thank you, Crawl. Dr. Sleep and The Irishman. And I said, at that point, Parasite was taking off. And I said, Quentin, I definitely didn't say Tarantino. He'd probably go off. That guy was, man, wow, intense. I said, what about Parasite? And he goes, I don't want to talk about that. And I go, okay, you don't want to talk about it. All right. And I thought that was oddly aggressive. And so there's your story. The Tarantino definitely has a problem with Parasite. There's no question in my mind. And the reason he has a problem with Parasite is because Bong took the Tarantino blueprint and imprinted it right upon Parasite. That's exactly what happened. That's why Tarantino did not love Parasite, because he sees that Bong just basically aped him. No one else has that. If anyone steals that, that's cut out for tomorrow. If anyone steals that, I kid you not, I've said it multiple times, but if someone, by the way, I never thought, that's what people do on Twitter, by the way. I love this. This is my favorite thing on Twitter. People take other people's ideas and then pass them off as their own. Like, I would never do that. In fact, I purposely don't want to know other people's thoughts, so I can't even have it in my head. So my thoughts are always going to be original on something. So, when I watch Joker, of course I know that we're talking about, King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. It's not that hard. Not that hard. Okay, before we're going to go a little bit longer here, but I do owe a physique critique. Here we go, guys. And because of Solomon coming in here with a super chat, by the way, super chats get you. I mean, I kind of have to do whatever you want me to do. I'm not going to get up and dance or, walk around shirtless, although it might happen. If we get to 10,000 subscribers, I'll do the show shirtless. Here's the thing. When you look at physique critique, it's really, ultimately, it started as film. We can go into other things if you want to do this, but it has to be someone in shape. I don't want to be doing physique critique for someone like Christian Bale, who got super thin for, what the hell was that movie when he lost all that weight? Or he got super fat, right, in Vice. I don't want to do that. I want to do only people that are in shape. So here we go. This is Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, the wrestler. And, his heyday was 01, 02, right? The early 2000s. He was everywhere. He was the man. He was the biggest thing in wrestling. And still one of the, faces of, your name, the most influential wrestlers of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin is very clearly there. And he stole, and for those of you, I do know my pro wrestling very well. He stole the Sandman's gig, right? He stole the whole act from the Sandman, from ECW in Philly with, Paulie Dangerously and what they created there. God, I love old ECW. I could do whole wrestling shows, by the way. But Stone Cold Steve Austin was very clearly, talk about derivative. He saw what the Sandman was doing in ECW and said, I'm going to take that same shtick, right? Smoking, drinking, carried a stick to the ring. I mean, Stone Cold was slightly different, but he took that same gimmick from the Sandman in ECW. By the way, give me a thumbs up if you guys are like, oh my God, this guy knows his pro wrestling. So what I just said was just mint pro wrestling discussion. Okay, here it is. Let's do it. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the physique critique. The only reason we can do this, because if anyone else tries to do this, it seems weird, right? Because typically the person doing the physique critique is not really in that great a shape. In this, I'm not listen. I'm not saying I'm just saying that I at least can hang. I'm in decent shape. Okay. So anyhow, I just have to constantly remind everybody before they go, "Whoa, that's kind of weird." Nope, it's legit with me. All right, here we go. Physique critique, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So when I look at Steve Austin, he's got the $1 million belt. Man, I know too much about wrestling. It's kind of scary. Old wrestling. If you ask me current wrestling, honestly, guys, I can't even help you. Okay, so when I look at him, I see a guy who's big, right? He's puffy. He's definitely a strong dude, but I don't see the definition that I'm looking for. I mean, he just looks like kind of big and bulky and thick. So if you're asking me to do a physique critique, for me personally, he doesn't have a six pack. I know that he carries a six pack to the ring, but he doesn't have the six pack. He's sort of, I mean, I understand there's sort of a six pack. You know what I'm trying to say? He just isn't as cut as I would like. I like more. For me, I want a physique. There he is with a little oil. By the way, isn't it amazing what oil and lighting will do? Look at the difference, right? There's one. There's two, right? He just looks better, right? He's got a tan, he's got some oil going, and he's also got the lighting. It helps. It all helps. There it is again. Same thing, right? So he just it's kind of like the guy who comes to the gym and throws a whole bunch of weight on the stack and just like shoves it around. He's big, but he doesn't have the definition. I'm more into so that's my physique critique on him. You guys, what do you think? Do you agree? Oh, I do a Kerchop. Listen. At this point, I think I'm only gonna do physique critique recommendations if you send a super chat. That's the only way. That's how we're gonna have to do it, because I'm just telling you, Patrick, you got to pay. You got to pay something for the physique critique. Harley Race, holy shit, that would be awesome. I don't know. I think that we've set a precedent now that Solomon, thank you, Solomon, for setting the precedent. Now you got to throw up some cash. I don't care if it's even 99 cents. You have to throw up something. It's hard rain with a gator. So yeah, there it is. Solomon, I mean, there's not much. It's okay. I prefer more definition. I prefer more, he's also, the other thing, this is something that's interesting. He's got short arms. Steve Austin has stubby arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look here, can you see my cursor or not? I don't know. No, you can't. If you look, I can't zoom this for whatever reason. The WWF, not E. He's got short arms. So when you have shorter arms, you don't have as much to build on your biceps and triceps. So he's got stubbier arms. He doesn't have like long, look, his arms like don't go all the way down to his legs. My arms are long. He has short arms. That said, he would kick my ass. So I don't want to get like Stone Cold to come after me. Don't tell him I said he has alligator arms. Hey, that works with the gator. Stone Cold Steve Austin has alligator arms. Oh my god. Oh shit, Solomon. Thank you for that, buddy. There's the super chat, and you didn't even want to do another one. 90s ECW and WWF was crazy. It's amazing. Oh my god. I mean, listen, this is now somewhat of a pro. We can do whatever at this point. For the last like 15 minutes of the show, it really is whatever we want to do. It doesn't have to be about movies. It's just midnight movie talk. 90s ECW, if there's one thing I could ever go back and do, I wish I could go back and go to an ECW house show in Philadelphia. For those of you who don't know about ECW, go to YouTube, not now, but when we're done, type in ECW wrestling and look for like a card or a televised event from like 97, 98. Oh my God, what they did that was just a golden era of pro wrestling, that they created mayhem in Philadelphia at the ECW arena, which I guess was just some dump, like in just random area of Philadelphia. But what they created was legendary. It'll never be forgotten. What those guys did in the ring, the stuff they did, like New Jack, you watch that wrestling, you're like, these guys were certifiably insane. Sabu, Taz. When you watch what those guys did, putting themselves through the chairs, through tables, Jack hitting each other with chairs hard, not this crap on the back, legit on the top of the head with the metal chair, compressing the spine. You look at the somersaults out into the crowd. I mean, ECW was insane. Solomon, I'm glad you like. I love talking about pro wrestling. I do. It's funny that I grew up watching WWF in the 80s. And here's something I've never admitted. When I was a kid, my entire bedroom was pictures from Pro Wrestling Illustrated of different wrestlers. Missing Link, Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, Hulk Hogan, Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, Paul Orndorff. Anyone who was a major 80s wrestler was on the walls. Like, it's funny. My God, it just hit me. You guys are like probably thinking this. Look what's behind me. Proof that little Eric didn't change. I'm doing the same thing now. I've gone from pro wrestlers covering the entire room to FYC covers. That is hilarious. I never thought about that until this moment. But I love old pro wrestling. I grew up with it. I knew all of it. And one of the things you had back then is you couldn't get some of these things. So when you watch pro wrestling from like, let's say NWA back in 1985, I couldn't watch that because I was in Columbus, Ohio. And all we had was WWF wrestling on like Saturday at noon. It was Wrestling Spotlight or Wrestling Superstars was what it was. And I watched it, and you get to see the wrestlers, and you were super excited. But you know what I always loved about wrestling is let me tell you. I loved the guys who weren't big. They were like the mid-card talent. I liked the Coco Bewares rather than the Hulk Hogans. I like the Missing Links versus the Kamala. Yeah, right? I like just the level down. There was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time was a wrestler who came into I don't even know why he was my favorite, but I just liked the gimmick. He came into the WWF, Dick Slater. You guys are like, this is no one in the right mind has ever talked. Jim Cornette would be happy if we had this discussion. I had the Rebel Dick Slater. He came into the WWF waving his Dixie flag before it was like totally non-PC. Can't do that. He'd come in and he was like a mid-card talent they thought maybe would get over, and it never happened because Vince McMahon has a history of liking guys who are jacked, like me, not me, Jack, but guys who look good shirtless, right? The Kerry Von Erichs, the Paul Orndorffs, Hulk Hogan, Brutus Beefcake, Rick Rude. You know what? I'm going to do this. The next one, not tonight, but the next one, please remind me. The next time we do this, I'm going to do a physique critique on Ravishing Rick Rude. And I will promise you this, it will be one of the best ever because I think that when you look at a male physique, nobody beats Rick Rude. Nobody. Okay? He just was unbelievably cut. He had the abs. He had the attitude, his character. What a talent Ravishing Rick Rude was. Absolutely jacked. I love that you guys love wrestling because we can do this. Like the end of the show is just like pro wrestling 80s and 90s talk. And then the funny thing is the show would like we become that. You know, I start talking about movies like we want to talk about wrestling. Stop talking about movies. Then those of you who want to talk about movies like stop talking about wrestling. You can't ever win. I told you guys what's going to happen on this show is that once we get started, I can't control where we go. We can talk about masks. We can talk about politics. We can talk about movies. We can talk about pro wrestling. We can talk about sports, whatever you want to do, right? I mean, that's the magic is that I feel like I can offer a little bit of something in a lot of different areas. I used to do a talk show in Orlando, Florida called Monsters in the Morning. And they have me on all the time. And one of the things they always said when I was on live radio, right? This is on an FM station. It was big, like tons of people in Orlando watched. It was when I was news anchoring in Orlando. And then I came on the radio. People knew me from the radio. They'd be like, oh my God, Eric Weber, you're on the Monsters all the time. Because I would come on and they would ask me something and I would just shoot. So they'd say, tell me about Tiger Woods. This is when Tiger Woods got into the crash and, you know, obviously was cheating and all that. I came on and I went off. They say, tell me about last night's game. Tell me about this movie. And I would just start shooting on things. And they go, my God, you're really good and really quick at just being able to quickly assemble thoughts and then go bang. And that's what we're doing here. We're essentially doing like a live radio show because none of this shit's recorded. All of it's real. All of it's live. Right? It's right now. It's 10:16 here in Los Angeles. By the way, let's do 10-minute warning. We'll go 125 tonight. We're going longer, but because we did pro wrestling, I feel like we're doing well. So let's just go for a little bit longer. New creative team in place for a Blade. Thank you again, David, for the super chat. You're straight up. And thank you again. Really appreciate it. Reports are it's the darkest Marvel movie yet. Thoughts? Can it be better than Wesley's Blade? I gotta see who I let me before I comment. I just said I can do all these comments. I haven't seen who's in place. Let me do that right now. Since you asked, I do owe you that. Blade. I'll tell you what. Sometimes I'm doing so many things I don't have time to. I miss a couple things, which obviously this is a big deal. So give me a second. Let me look and see who's in. Blade. Give me a second. Let me go to news. I mean, this is literally where I'm at. I'm literally like doing the research here, but you asked for it. You asked for it, so I do it. And David, thank you for the contribution. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. Sometimes I have the wrong window up. Give me 1 second. Here it is. Okay, so here it is, Blade. Okay. Oh God. What? This says Blade reboot secretly replacing him with a woman. Oh my God. What did we just talk about tonight? What did we just talk about tonight? We just talked about Disney eliminating male protagonists and replacing them with female protagonists over and over and over. I can't even read that if that's what's going to happen. If that happens again, I'm telling you, here it is. Okay, so you know what? I didn't ever watch Lovecraft Country, so this is going to be. Is it Jan Demange? What else has he done? Is there something else that I should know? Because I don't. You gave me the super chat, and I legitimately am like, who the hell? Okay, Lovecraft Company. He did the Drag 71 and White Boy Rick. White Boy Rick. I saw White Boy Rick. Okay, yeah, I was pretty impressed with White Boy Rick. I mean, it was cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just know this. I'm glad you brought this up because I swear to God, if they do this again, if Disney does this again, where they go, oh, by the way, we now have a female stepping in. You guys, listen, it's not here's the problem. It's not the issue of having a female protagonist step in for the male protagonist. That's not the issue. The issue is when you're repeatedly doing this to virtually everything you touch, you're telling me that someone over there at Disney is specifically making this their mission. This is thought out. This is planned. This is what the direction is. And it's also something I do not like. And you guys know my number one problem. And I hate this in people. I do. I hate it. I hate agendas. I hate people with agendas. I really do. I don't like to say hate, but I do. If you have an agenda, I don't trust you because obviously you can't be trusted. You are not being in person of integrity. You are going through life with an agenda, and an agenda is not good. Whether that's agenda to get ahead of people by doing things, to do whatever it takes, the agenda is to push something you believe in on other people, to go for a narrative that you want to see happen because you're going to benefit from it. These are agendas. And I'm telling you that when you have this happen repeatedly, someone's got an agenda over there, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Nor should you. You shouldn't like it either, because then you're forcing things. You're not letting things organically happen because you're doing it in every single thing. Cars 3, Star Wars, Marvel, Black Panther. There's another one I'm forgetting. There's another major one I'm literally forgetting, and you guys are going to yell at me in the comments. I'm sure there is. But yeah, that's a problem. I'm sorry. The Von Erich's family were some of my favorites. You know, I can't wait for that Von Erich movie because listen, when you have the director of Mary, Marlene, whatever, that guy, that movie, I'll never get the title right. Don't ask me to. Elizabeth Olsen, drop dead gorgeous Elizabeth Olsen. Like, hey guys, welcome to the channel. For those you've never watched, Elizabeth Olsen will knock you out with just looking at her with like, she should play Medusa. That's who she should absolutely. In fact, that's the script I'm going to start writing here tonight when I'm done with the show. Elizabeth Olsen as Medusa, because she could seduce any man. I mean, it's like not fair. It's literally like turn to stone. That's Medusa. She's a siren. My God, she's just stunning. Okay, now, I can't get through a show without saying that Elizabeth Olsen is stunning in person. Like, just drop dead. Leah, the giant freaking robots. With a name like that, I didn't expect it to be fully trusted, but I just said I'll throw it out there. I mean, the mommy cinematic universe, seriously, at this point. Okay, a few more. Oh man, I see now we're going down. we're going down. We're going down this like path. ECW, WWF, WCW. Okay, Shane Douglas, yes. Taz, Dudley's, France. You're talking about yes from ECW. Michael Sting, Rob Van Dam. Oh my God, Rob Van Dam. Foley, Terry Funk. Terry Funk was a guy who was old, right? Says a guy who's not young anymore. Terry Funk was like this old dude who had no care at all for his body. He had a reckless, I mean, just self-destructive quality about him that he goes back and watch some of those matches and later in his career when he was just throwing it all on the line in front of like 250 people at an ECW show. He would be throwing himself all over the place with Sabu. That guy was a maniac. God, is he still alive, by the way? Is Funk still alive? I think he is. Shane Douglas was a really good talent on the mic. Listen, Clash of the Titans spinoff with her. She's so oh God, she's so hot. Can we? You know what? At this point, we're at the end of the show. Let's just. This is it. I've got to do it. We're gonna be. This is. Watch someone's gonna cut. You're creepy. I don't give a. I don't care what you guys say. I met her in person and she is drop dead gorgeous. Here she is. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Here we go. There she is in all of her regal splendor. Elizabeth Olsen. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm going to tell you the story as quickly as possible. I mean, as short as I can. Here it is. Party, Wind River, 2018, 17 maybe. And I go, and it's Jeremy Renner and it's Elizabeth Olsen. It's a really small party. It's over at the Beverly Hilton. There's like 30 people there. And she walks in. She wasn't there. I'm there hanging out with my buddy Scott. I'm drinking probably a Bud Light at that point because that's how I roll. Or whatever the cheapest beer that I like drinking. I'm a man from Ohio, man. I want my Miller Lite. So I look up and I go, holy God, mother of God, that's Elizabeth Olsen in person. In person. It's thank you, Ken. This is where you chime in. This is where Ken has my back because he met her. It's like I can't even comprehend what I'm witnessing at this point. That is the level of beauty that Elizabeth Olsen is in person. I'm not stalking her. I want to make sure this is clear. I'm not stalking her. But I'm just telling you guys this is what the show MMT is truth, and I can't get away from the fact. I can't ignore the fact that there she is. Does Elizabeth Olsen have that dainty thing about her? There's a good question. We haven't talked. This is great. This is where the show is like completely off the rails. She was not. No, I would say she's probably about 5'6", 5'7". I would not say like sometimes you meet some actors and they're really like you said, dainty. Reese Witherspoon, small. Jennifer Lopez, not that large, but she had heels on. That's the thing is heels will make anyone look bigger. But I would not say when I met Elizabeth Olsen, I would say she was dainty or she was small. I would say no. I would say no to both those things. I imagine. Oh my gosh, Amanda Seyfried, right? Seyfried or Seyfried? I never know how to say her name. She's another drop dead. I've never met Anne Hathaway in person, but I imagine that would be right. Haley Atwell, stunning. There's a bunch. Halle Berry, Kate. I've never met Kate. I saw Kate Beckinsale, Critics' Choice. So yes, Haley Atwell. I don't think I've ever seen in person. Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is like, man, in her prime. Trish. That's hard to say, by the way. Trish Stratus was. Selena Gomez. I imagine is pretty small. No, you're bad. Hey, stop. Oh God, you guys are getting into it. In the comments. That's where we know it's like the community's on. You guys are like attacking each other in the comments. Just be sort of respectful. Come on. Terry Funk was in Roadhouse. All right, 5-minute warning. 5 minutes and we're done. I mean, literally, it's like 5 minutes of staring at Elizabeth Olsen. Hold on, let's see. Is there another picture? There, this is her again. Hold on, let me hit it. Hold on. This is a good one. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is a lot of times, there's some Photoshop, there's something in person. Sometimes people don't impress in person. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna don't ask me for names because right now but Elizabeth Olsen's definitely not one of those people. Like, in fact, it's the opposite. Elizabeth Olsen in person is just like you can't even comprehend what's happening. Um, you turn to mush. Trish Stratus got my loins going. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. It's so great. Oh, Cameron Diaz in The Mask was unbelievably hot, right? Cameron Diaz is an interesting thing, right? She just like disappeared. Cameron Diaz was one of the biggest actresses going, and and then it was just like she just said, "I'm done." She just left, and I think she's coming back. What is she coming back? She's returning in something. But how about that? How about to leave at the height of your popularity? You say, "I'm out of here. I'm gonna take some time off." And when you're a woman in your 40s, I'm a man. I'm 40s. When you're a woman in your 40s, man, I really have lost it. You are in trouble because Hollywood doesn't have a lot of opportunities for you. It's amazing when some are able to continue. Like, you look at, Reese Witherspoon, obviously, Jennifer Aniston. There's some, like, well, obviously we know that Meg Ryan was not able to continue. So when you get older in this business, Mila Kunis is small. I would imagine that's true. I didn't meet her in person, but I imagine that's small. When you get to be 40 and you're a woman, the opportunities aren't as great because there's just not as many. Who's another that was just in something I just watched, and I was like, she's an actress in her 40s, stunning, and she still works. There's a few examples of that. Oh, well, Marissa Tomei is a good example of that, but not everybody. A lot of times you get to that age and Hollywood's like, we're done. We have no more roles for you. We're going to pair up Tom Cruise with a 35-year-old. Like Rebecca Ferguson, who's probably, I would imagine she's probably in her late 30s, right? Rebecca Ferguson at this point. But then she should be okay, but it just gets harder because the opportunities, there's not as many scripts. So maybe you have to go do television or something, and then God bless, you're still making good money. Don't complain about it. All right, we're less than five. Linda Cardellini. Yes, she is beautiful. Linda Cardellini, 100%. I should coach Oklahoma State. Yeah, is it Gundy? Yeah, I'm a man. I'm 40. Come after me. I got to come up with some kind of catchphrase like that. Just the whole thing turning blood red when I go off about it. Christina Applegate is absolutely stunning. She has the health problems. It's such a shame. You hear that she has, I think, MS. Is it MS? She has something where it's deteriorating. I believe it's MS. She has something that all of a sudden she's going down. It's really, she's a great actress. I love Christina Applegate's really underrated, I think, as an actress. Mix of beauty and wrestling. Go with Alexa Bliss. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to trust you on that. Kate Winslet, beautiful. Yeah, 100%. All right, we're completely off the rails. It's perfect. That was it. 5 minutes, it's over. Guys, thank you. We're back here on Sunday night. Marcel the Shell says good night until I see you guys on Sunday night. We will be talking about, I'm very likely going to watch Emancipation this weekend, so that could be fun. That could be a good show. I don't know. I don't want to dislike it. I'm just saying it could be fun. And also, I'm going to try to see something else. I don't know. We'll watch something else. And then Sunday night, we'll have Box Office for Violent Night. We'll have Black Panther weekend. Is it 4 now? And then whatever else happens. Listen, whatever you guys want to talk about. Physique Critique is already locked up. It is Rick Rude. Ravishing Rick Rude, Physique Critique on Sunday night. Can't wait. One of my favorite physiques of all time, Rick Rude. Until then, guys, Marcel and myself say good night from Los Angeles live. I'll see you guys back here Sunday night. MMT is